Okay, so have Janie here, and the first question I wanted to know, because we're finding out what she thinks of the truck in the 5,000 mile review, is what was your first reaction after we brought it home?
I was intimidated by the truck. I didn't want to get in it. I didn't want to drive it. It had the one pedal driving, and I had no idea how to do that. It was big. It was way bigger than what I was used to, and a very expensive truck. So I was intimidated.
Did you think it was pretty though?
I loved it.
So tell me some things that you like or dislike about the truck. We can start with the likes.
Okay, now that I'm used to it, I love the regenerative, no, well, I like the regenerative braking, but that's not what it's called. The one pedal driving. One pedal driving.
Yeah. Regenerative.
Word is so hard to say.
It's really hard to say right now. But it's the regenerative braking.
Because of the one pedal driving.
Yeah.
I love being able, it's very intuitive, so you just lift your foot off the pedal and it starts slowing the truck down immediately. There's no like, oh my gosh, am I doing it right? Like, it's not like learning how to drive a clutch. You literally just start lifting your foot off and the truck starts slowing down. Now he likes it on very aggressive slowing. And so for me, that had a little to get used to, because I lift my foot off the pedal a lot faster because I don't have one pedal driving in my car. So I tend to lift my foot off the pedal, and the first couple times you kind of like lurch toward the front of the car, but you get used to it, and then you start, getting that. And within a block or two, I was already used to the one pedal driving.
So for the viewers, she drives an ICE vehicle still. So she has a Volvo SUV that fits all three kids in the backseat as well. So going back and forth, I know for me, is weird.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm so used to lifting my foot off the pedal. Like, I want to do the same thing when I get in your car and drive the SUV.
It takes me a minute, maybe. I mean, it's almost like, because I go back and forth a lot. So when I drive around town, if I have to run up to my grandma's house or run to some errands, I will take the truck because it's just way more efficient to use the electricity than it is the gas. And we live in California, and gas is extraordinarily expensive. So if we have to just do an in-town run, I just grab the key to the truck and I go. So for me, I've gotten a lot more used to, if I'm getting in the truck, my brain's already kind of remembering like one pedal driving. Sometimes I'll go down the street and I'll be like, oh yeah, there we go. Now I'm good. And it takes me just one lurch and then I'm back to normal.
I feel like when I go from the truck to the SUV, I feel like I have less control. Like, because I'm used to, as soon as my foot comes off the gas or off the accelerator, I'm immediately feeling slow.
Braking, right.
Yeah, and so like I am used to that. So when I get into the Volvo, I don't have that.
Right.
And that's weird.
Yeah.
Because it's like a bad dream for me. Like when I can't stop the car.
Yeah.
And like
somebody
that's
cut
when
the brake line.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've got to like remember. And obviously, your muscle memory. I've been doing it for 20 years, 25 years. So, yeah. So when we bought the Silverado EV, we still had the Dodge EcoDiesel because they gave us a bad deal for it. So,
right.
So you drove the Dodge a lot.
Yes.
What were are your like differences between them?
The Dodge was harder for me to drive, even when it was brand new. I didn't like driving it as much. I had my Jetta when it was brand new, and my Jetta was a 5-speed, and I loved that little car. So when we had the Dodge truck, it was so much bigger. I remember taking it to work one time, and I'm a nurse, and I was driving to somebody's home, and I was brand new, and I was shadowing with one of our other nurses, and I tried to park the Dodge into a parking space in a mobile home park, and I had to back up and repark it, and I got out, and the nurse I was with, she's really funny, but she goes, listen lady, if you can't drive it, you probably shouldn't own it. And I'm like, well, it's not mine, it's my husband's, so lay off a little. But it kind of made me laugh. And when I realized I don't have that extension feeling like I did in my car, where like I'm very aware of the front end of the vehicle. In the Dodge, you're kind of looking over the hump of the hood, and so that was always kind of, I never knew exactly where that stopping point was, where I had to be aware of like the corners, and it had the sensors in it, so like you couldn't get too close to something or it would like beep at you. So it wasn't that, but I just didn't have that like feeling like when I'm driving that I'm aware of all four corners of the vehicle. And in the Silverado, I feel like it is an extension of me. Like, I am very aware of where the corners are at. I know the steering wheel feels nice and tight when I drive, just like my Volvo. The steering is really, really receptive. The steering wheel, it's not a sloppy steering wheel. And then the Dodge, let's see, so I don't like the steering wheel. And then it was really a work truck. So when we would go to roundups, when we would, when Mark would go hunting, it was a dirty truck. So, and it had, what do you call it? The fabric seats in it. And so it's very dusty, and I'm a little more sensitive to dust. And so I would get in and I'd smell the dusty smell and the work truck and the dirt. And I don't like that. I keep my car super clean, other than the kids stuff in there. But I like my cars really clean, and so the dust smell would get to me, and I really didn't like that. So leather seats, huge plus for me. All my cars, since we bought new cars, have had leather seats in it, because that's a big important thing for me. So the Silverado has the leather seats, and it just seems to stay cleaner. I don't know if that's a concerted effort that it is, or if it's just because it's a new vehicle.
Well, it's bigger. I mean, it's bigger inside. Like, I know that's one of Nico's favorite thing, is that he has more room inside the truck.
Yeah.
To maneuver. But it is bigger, and I think it's interesting. So, do you think it's easier driving the Silverado than it was driving the Dodge, even though that the Dodge is actually bigger than it?
The Dodge is
bigger? I mean that the Silverado is bigger than the Dodge.
Yeah, it seems odd, but I think because of the responsiveness of the steering wheel, the one pedal driving responsiveness as well. Like, I don't know, I just feel more connected to that car, the truck, than I did the Dodge.
Interesting. I feel like the windows are bigger all around.
Yeah,
in
the visualization.
Silverado. I felt like there was, I mean, you're always going to have a blind spot in any vehicle, but like, I feel that the windows are bigger, like from like a vertical level, and I feel like I have more visibility. I mean, that's just me, but I feel like I have more 360 view. Obviously, the cameras are better. The
camera helps a lot. The rear view mirror is an actual camera.
Right.
And so instead of seeing car seats, you see what's actually behind you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually, I think favorite feature, because he's like I get to watch them in secret behind us. Because he's 6.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So you feel that it's easier to drive the Silverado, even though it's a bigger vehicle.
Yeah. It's way more responsive. And I like the Super Cruise too.
Tell me about it, because I have talked a little bit about it in this video. I already did a little pre-shoot on this. I have my likes and dislikes about it, but ultimately, well, here, I'll let you talk, and then I'll give you my ultimate what I said already.
Okay. So I like the Super Cruise. I've had a couple of trips. We have 3 kids, a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and an infant. And my 6-year-old's class went to the zoo, and we got to go with them, and it was open to families, so I brought all 3 kids, and I was on my own with the 3 kids, and we had a great time. But one of the things that I had to do was pump on my way down to the zoo and on my way home. And I have the hardest time getting that set up when I can't be hands-free for just a second. And one of the things that the Super Cruise allowed me to do was it allowed me to be hands-free for a minute or two, and I could, let go. You don't really even need to have your hands on the steering wheel, but I could have them there if I needed it, but I could adjust things, and I could, make sure that the pump was set up next to me. And so it just worked like seamlessly, and it took a lot of stress off of me trying to keep my eyes on the road, trying to keep, balancing things out while you're trying to get set up with a pump. For any moms that are watching this, they'll absolutely know what I'm talking about. But So that was really nice. And then again, as a mom, I could take my eyes off the road, and it's safe because the truck is watching, and I could reach behind me and give my toddler her, or my 3-year-old her whatever, water or the toy she dropped, or if I need to reach over and soothe the baby, I could soothe him. So I love, as a mom, I love having the Super Cruise. And it's not always available, but on the highway, which is what, when we were going to the zoo, it was all highway driving, it was available, and it was just so convenient to have the ability to take my eyes off the road for a minute and deal with whatever's going on in the back seat, or just change the music because I'm bored, I don't want to listen to that station anymore. So I love that about the Super Cruise, because I don't have anything like that in the Volvo. I have adaptive cruise, but you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel because the car will drift off the road. It doesn't have the lane control at all. Right. And so being able to be hands-free for just a second as a parent is a huge bonus, especially on any length of car trip. I mean, I use it anytime we're on the highway, but I wish it was in town too, because that's when I have I do a lot of driving in town, and it would be so nice to be able to just turn around and look and see what the kids need and then come back to the road. But so I'm looking for, hopefully one day they'll patch that in.
Hopefully they'll do a update. I mean, updates are a whole nother subject for me, but yeah, if it had that, I said in the video before the barbecue one, I had said, and you saw it, but I had said that I feel like the Super Cruise is just like another person watching the road. Like it's just another safety feature that you may need or may not need. I mean, it may not stop you from hitting a deer, but it helps you if you're lane changing. It lane changes for you, and it scans the what's next to you. There is its quirks. Sometimes it wants to move over into a lane that I don't want it to, or it does lose, like, I don't want to call it the reception, but it stops the Super Cruise because something's going on with the road. Sometimes if road work happens,
or it loses the paint on the lane.
Right, or if the paint's not there, like if they just redid the road, or if you're coming to an on-ramp, or like if you're going to take an on-ramp, like on my commute, I go from one highway to another highway. Right. And it will turn off before I get there because it doesn't, I don't know if it's just maybe a safety feature of GM and they don't want you to potentially get an accident by them taking control. But I think that's one of the reasons why they don't have the full Tesla driving.
Yeah, they don't have that ready yet.
Yeah, so it's one of my favorite features. It's definitely a feature I had said that I will be purchasing, once the free trial goes away, which is going to be coming up soon. Yeah. I'm definitely going to be purchasing that. A favorite feature of mine is something so silly, but we have it in all our vehicles, is the Sirius XM.
Oh yeah.
We are not sponsored by them, but that'd be cool. We I think we've had Sirius XM since the Volvo.
Since the Jetta.
Yeah, the Jetta. Yeah.
Our first new car
we ever bought. Yeah. We got serious with that, and it was just a game changer because, I mean, I commute every day.
That was when I was commuting too.
Yeah, and we were both commuting every day. So yeah, that's something that I really enjoy. So with the Dodge comparison, like, I wanted you to say something about this because you get motion sickness.
Oh yeah.
And we pulled the same trailer with both vehicles. And I know from driving it that it's like there's nothing behind me when I tow with the Silverado. But how did you feel when we took the same camping trip that we took and I drove with the Dodge EcoDiesel? Same trailer.
So I can be on my phone in the car most of the time. Sometimes I have to put it down. But when we took the Dodge, we took the trailer many times with the Dodge, and I could not ever be on my phone because it was almost like a chugging motion, and that's what I explained it like something is rocking you forward and then pulling you back.
It's like the weight of the trailer is
and it's not rhythmic like the ocean. It's like a chug, like you just like I don't know, that's the only way I can describe it.
You're kind of like a bumpy roller coaster.
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
that motion
Well,
sickness.
yeah, you're not going up and down, that you're going back and forth. And for
Right.
somebody, I lost the hearing in my right ear, and so I'm especially sensitive to motion. And I was a little bit before I lost the hearing in my ear, and the Dodge pulling that trailer made it, it was almost miserable. Like, I couldn't, I was dreading trying to take it on anything longer than, what is that, like a 45-minute drive, 50-minute drive?
It's like 50 to 60 minutes, but it's only like 40 miles.
Yeah,
But
so
we
there's
get-
a
you
lot
get
of slow
slowed.
points,
Yeah,
which
there's a lot of
is,
slow points. You go
it's
through-
not
through a
better,
couple towns.
actually. It was like, I could immediately feel it as soon as we started driving down the street. I'm like, oh, here we go.
I mean, I noticed just from a power sense, you know, it's the Dodge EcoDiesel has, you know, a 9,600 pound towing capacity, and you know, I made sure I got everything with the right towing stuff, you know,
Right.
the right rear end and everything like that.
Right.
And I remember us driving up north to, I think it was Lopez, and going up the hill was like, how to yabba dabba do it,
Struggle.
you know? I
Yeah.
thought we were gonna have to
Turn off
pedal.
the AC.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
everything. And
Mhm.
from a driving standpoint, I don't feel that.
Not the passenger standpoint. I might have felt a little bit of that, like, motion, but instead of being like, you know, I'm just
Yeah.
like,
I don't feel it as a constant
feel
thing, and I
more
felt
like-
it immediately with when you pointed that out.
yeah.
I almost
Sorry.
wish you didn't point it out, because then I noticed it immediately with the Dodge, and I don't notice it with the Silverado.
No, I
Um,
barely. I think
and I don't know if
maybe
that's
I
a
felt a little
weight
bit.
issue. Like,
Mm.
I don't know if it's because the
The truck's so much.
the
The
Silverado
Silverado's
is
so much
8,900
heavier.
pounds
Yeah.
versus the truck was the Dodge was 6,200 pounds. So
Mhm.
technically, the trailer was heavier than, you know, the truck. And in
Mhm.
this case, it's not. You know,
Right.
the Silverado has almost 2,000 pounds when it's loaded. When we load up, and then I don't feel bad about loading up the trailer even more.
Right, I know.
Because I'm like,
it's not the weight.
yeah, it's not a weight, it's the
aerodynamics,
aerodynamics. Yeah. It's just pulling a brick through the air. I mean, it's just a big box, but I wish they made things
Yeah.
more aerodynamic. That'd be nice. But
Well, I
whatever.
mean, they could. We could get like an Airstream or something, but
Yeah, no, that doesn't fit. So what would you say is some things you don't like? Just a few things that you don't like about the truck. I ask this because, you know, as a partner,
no.
you know, we're,
Yeah.
you know, it's an expensive purchase. You know, I know
Right,
that I know
right.
that we bought it, you know, used on the lot or new on the lot, but just older.
Right.
And so we got a pretty big discount because of that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's still, you know, $74,000 out the door, and
Yeah.
you know, when you're deciding to make a 5-figure purchase, you know, I don't like spending money. So
Yeah.
like
It's a big
making that,
purchase for us.
it gives me the kind of the heebie-jeebies. It makes my anxiety go up, you know. And I'm not a person that has anxiety. So
You know, you're committed to, you know,
Right.
$1,200, $1,300 payment
Right.
for, you know,
for however long you have to make the
you loan.
payments.
Yeah.
And so if you were to tell, you know, other people, other wives out there that are looking at this, you know, if there's husbands watching that are trying to convince their wife or not convince their wife, you know, this is a good purchase. But what would you say is something, even one thing that you dislike about the truck?
Well, I do have to say, one thing that you did was you did your research. You looked for months on exactly what you were looking for in an EV. You looked at Tesla, you looked at Rivian, you looked at Ford. I mean, you did your due diligence, and you do whenever you do a project. You always thoroughly look at, you know, from A to B and everything in between. So there's a certain amount of trust that I give you, that leeway. Like, okay, you decide. Obviously, you were the one that needed the new vehicle.
Right. It wasn't
And
on a whim.
Yeah, and so I think for me, it was like, I knew that. I knew you needed a new vehicle, and we knew that you needed a truck, and you did the research to, you know, figure out which one fit our family the best and the budget the best. And I mean, any new car, even what, a Honda is 35, 40, 45,000. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Well, I mean, even a brand
look
new
at
truck.
an EV, yeah, or gosh, yeah, even a brand new gas truck.
Right.
You're talking $60,000 to $80,000 depending on what you're looking at,
Right.
what you're getting. So yeah, like I said, you did your due diligence. So I do have to say, and especially this one, if you're going to do your due diligence and this is the type of thing that you want, you know, look and see what they have. And what Mark did was he found, you know, an EV on the lot that that they wanted gone because they wanted to bring new stock in.
Right.
So if you're comfortable driving a ways, because we did have to drive 4.5 hours to go get it.
Yeah, it was 4 hours away or so.
And you're comfortable
With
walking
traffic.
away from a 4.5 hour drive, because that's really hard to do. Once you get there, you're like, oh God, this is exactly what I want, and I don't want to walk away. But yeah, so anyway, I guess you asked me what I don't like about the truck. There isn't too much I don't like. There are things that I wish were more intuitive with the truck. So I've come to have certain expectations of electric vehicles just because my dad bought a Tesla Model X a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I think 3 years ago. And I've not driven it, but I've been in it many times, and so I got kind of spoiled by Teslas. They're really have the market on like passenger comfort and driver comfort, and like the computer programming that goes into the Teslas is just like, you're not going to beat it, right? Yeah. So like you walk up to the Tesla and the door opens for you. We actually programmed my dad's Tesla to drive itself from where he keeps it to their front garage where they where he would get into it at.
Yeah.
And that's you can't do that with the other cars. So there's a lot of things like getting out of the Tesla. He just gets out of it, it shuts itself off, it turns, the door is shut, all of that. You don't have to lock it, you just walk away from it.
Hey, you don't do that with a regular vehicle.
I know, but I have this expectation of EVs now that this is what EVs should perform at.
So your complaint is that it just doesn't have all the
programming and the technology that the Teslas have.
And going like, I would say my biggest complaint, I don't know, maybe you could tell me what complaint I have is that you hear me say often, because I don't really know.
Well, actually the roof, the sunroof above is so cool, or panoramic roof, whatever they call it,
like a moon roof.
But it is so hot. And that is one of the downsides.
That's one of my least favorite things on the truck.
I love it. I
cool.
love it because it makes the whole cab so bright and beautiful, and but it is hot. And so on those really like we get a couple really warm days, it would be nice to have something that you could leave retracted, and it would keep the cab cooler too.
They have one you can buy. It's like $1,000.
Oh.
But yeah, I know, as a sunshade, right? And I want to say
it'll just stay hot.
Yeah, I think theirs is magnetic or something. But I wish it had like a retractable,
like the Volvo does.
Yeah, it's like almost every vehicle that we've had one like that.
I think that's the biggest complaint. But what a complaint to have, right?
I think that's my biggest complaint. Probably the thing I mentioned the most out loud. My secret complaint though is, I'm going to go back to the updates. I see on the forums a lot where people are getting updates, and I've received none.
Yikes!
Not one update, and I've gone through the forums, and they say that it comes in waves, and the waves are basically like, I don't know, by section, by geography, I don't even know, but someone will post up, new like on your screen, on your home, on your infotainment screen, the update for this, and one of the updates is I really want is for Super Cruise. And it centers your lane more, because one of the things I don't like about the Super Cruise is that it kind of pushes you to the left line more. I feel like it reads the left line more than it does the right line, and so you kind of move over to the left side of the lane more, which I'd rather be centered. Sometimes that scares me, because then another car will fly by you, and they kind of get close, and that scares the crap out of me. I think I'm going to get sideswiped, by a little Honda.
Right.
And then along with that, they also have updates coming out. People have just started getting the Gemini, the AI, and that is coming in. And so far, from what they've said, I've seen people say is that it's actually cool. It does a little bit better. It does a lot better than what the current guide they have in there, where like you could push the button and say, take me to this address, which I use anytime I have to go to a different address, like delivering the seasonings and stuff. So that's really nice, but now it's Gemini, and so you can say, I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it's like, hey Gemini or whatever, but
whatever the call words
whatever the call words are. But you can also push the button, I think, still too, and then you can tell Gemini to make you a playlist for this road trip. and it'll do that for you, you know, because it's
Yeah.
AI, you know.
Right,
So
right.
I know there's people that are funny about the AI world, but you know,
You probably turn it off too.
you probably can. I mean, I don't think I will, because you know, I find a lot of benefit in it, especially when you know you're tired or something. Like you can talk to Gemini, you can
It's
tell
like
it to,
having a person with
right,
you.
it's a person to talk to almost in a kind of weird sci-fi
Well, now I know where our son gets it from.
iRobot kind of way, you know. Just as long as you're nice to them, right?
Right.
So yeah, so I would say, you know, with a large purchase,
Yeah.
our complaints are minimal.
I don't really have any. Oh, we did have to put the we didn't have to, but for convenience reasons, we put the charger in our home, so that
Yeah, so I mean, I find that personally to be a super benefit.
it was just it was an additional.
But it
cost.
was an additional
Yeah.
cost. Yeah, we did pay because of, and I think I said this a few videos ago, but our power panel is all the way on this side of the house,
Right.
and we charge on the opposite side of the house.
Yeah.
And so copper's expensive, so it cost us like $1,900 to have that plugged in, a new amp put on there, a new breaker on there with a 50 amp breaker, because by the time it takes to travel, you end up losing 20%. So we have a 40 amp is what we plug into, and then I chose the plug-in kind because now I know.
We did the trailer too.
Right, yeah, I can plug in the trailer, I can do all that kind of stuff. And then also, I mean, as a first-time EV owner, I didn't know if the EVIQO that we have, the charger, was a good one. I mean, I knew the reviews were good, but you know, obviously until you use it, like I didn't know it was really good. And now, I mean, I'm glad I got it because it's freaking fantastic. I like the app it has. It tracks how much amp, you know, you use, how much kilowatt hours you use. So you can see exactly, you know, you can tell it, you know, how much have I used in this month, and it will tell you how much you've used in the month. So you can kind of compare your electricity bills. And this last month was a longer month for us, and we did some more moving and traveling around, and so it was a little bit higher as far as that went. But comparatively to
gas prices,
gas or diesel prices being $7 a gallon right now, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, you know, and so going back on the cost, and it is a 5-figure purchase, and you're looking at, you know, $1,200 plus for a you know, payment every month is a lot. And but the amount that we saved alone just on the gas price or the diesel price for us, because it was diesel that we were obviously using, I mean, we're saving like, you know, $500 to $600 a month on just that. So and then the convenience of I don't have to go, you know.
I know, I'm so jealous of that, because that is one of my least favorite activities, and I don't like letting my tank get below half a tank. And so I'm filling up at least once a week with my commute.
And you have a short commute.
30 minutes round trip.
30 round trip.
Well, but I gotta go out and get you know.
Well, you get Nico and you pick up the kids before I get home. Yeah, but I mean, it's not as long of a commute, but it's still an expensive one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
and I have to go to the gas station and fill up once a week. And filling up with 3 kids in your car, you're like, okay, we got time to do this. You guys are gonna have to sit here and hang out for a minute, or you know, for a few minutes. And
so I have one more question for you that I just thought of.
Okay.
One more question, and I think this is a good one. I know you don't want to get rid of the Volvo, but the day that it comes, are you gonna get another ICE vehicle, or are you gonna lean towards an EV?
Okay, so secret time.
You've been looking at stuff already.
I may have been looking at the electric Volvo, the all electric Volvo.
Oh, electric Volvo. Okay.
But you know, honestly, Volvo. I don't really love driving. It's never been. I think I was almost 17 by the time I got my driver's license, and it was only because my dad was like, "You're getting your driver's license," and so it's never been. I love the freedom of it, don't get me wrong, but I could easily become an Uber girl too. Just have somebody pick me up and take me where I need to go. Like, it is a little inconvenient, but
I thought, because I know you so well, because we've been together for 16 years, that I thought you'd be looking at like a new Tesla or
So
something.
that's what I really do want. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I looked at the Volvo EV just because I really
Just because of
love my Volvo,
I
and
feel
the
like
safety features are just unmatched with Volvo. And I carry my 3 most precious things around with me. Those my babies are in the car, so whatever we get, I want to make sure it's very, very safe.
yeah.
But yeah, actually, if I could get any vehicle, I absolutely love my dad's Model X. I love that the doors swing open. There is nothing in my
It has the
way.
DeLorean doors.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing in my way when I put the kids in. So getting car seats in and clicked in, you know, and all set up in there, it's nothing. I can stand
I don't know
almost
if that's
stand
a term
up
or
in
not,
there.
but if it's not, they should definitely coin the DeLorean.
The DeLorean,
doors.
I don't think they call it that.
That'd be a good band name, though.
Yeah, like
The
yeah,
DeLorean
an 80
doors.
hair, yeah, man, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
80. Oh, yeah, 80s.
Right.
I like that. Yeah. DeLorean doors.
But yeah, so I actually do.
So that's what I
do
thought
want
you-
a
I
Tesla because
thought-
I want the full self-driving.
Yeah.
I want like my chauffeur Tesla. I'm gonna name it Jeffrey, and and I hope
good
it's
Fresh
snarky
Prince.
like Jeffrey.
A good Fresh Prince
Yeah.
reference.
Right.
We're definitely 90s kids. Yeah, so I totally thought that would be what you did. I
Yep.
did not know if there was,
You know me so well.
I thought it literally only because of the self-driving.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like whoever has that feature as their, like, as good, if no one else gets their self-driving feature as good as Tesla's, I
Yeah.
think Tesla's going to have a lock-in on a lot of market because of it.
There's a lot of people like me who don't want to drive. I have zero interest in being responsible for my car. Like, I would like my car to just take me from point A to point B as directed. You choose the route, you choose the speed, like just get me there, and that's all I want. And I want to be able to put the kids in without having, and then storage too would be,
That's cool. Yeah, having the
Frunk is such a nice
so
feature.
nice. I did
Yeah.
not realize, like, I knew it was going to be nice. I saw your dad's.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, I knew it was going to be nice. But, like, I put all my coaching stuff, the
Yeah.
big gear bag, the bleachers that, everything, the balls,
Literally,
everything in there.
you need, like
All
the diaper bag you
yes,
go in there.
everything
like,
goes in. And
all the kids.
the little
crap.
extra chair sitting next to me for tea
Yeah.
or whatever. And, it's so convenient. Or, it's also the thing that gets attention the most, too, though.
Yeah.
Because when I go to a grocery store and I open up the front,
They're like, what?
people
Why
are
is
like,
that big
"Why
of a
is he
truck?
what is he
in
putting
his
in the engine?
compartment?"
Like, why is he putting
Yeah.
his groceries in the engine, So, but yeah.
Definitely Tesla would be my choice. And I just want to make sure whatever Tesla, if we choose a Tesla, if that's still what, the full self-driving is the most capable by Tesla, then the next thing that I would want would be, storage space, because we will have, hopefully at that point in time,
We'll have 3
teenage
kids
kids,
and 3
or
kids in school,
mid-teenage, yeah.
Right now it's just Nico, but
Right.
we'll have 3 at that point. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean it's something to think about, and I think it's something for the viewers, who have families or are going to have a family.
Yeah.
Having the truck it does all the truck stuff,
Right.
right? Like
Right.
it does the truck stuff. Like we can tow. I can throw things in the back. We had all the wood back.
I mean,
there
I wouldn't
for
mind
the
having
barbecue.
I wouldn't mind having a truck either. If that was like, hey, you know what, this one's the better deal, then I just would be a little sad that I didn't have the full self-driving.
Yeah.
But I actually don't mind the electric vehicles. There's a little like sense of hesitancy just because I'm like, well, what if something happens to the power grid and we don't have that
Right.
electricity? Then how do we take care of our vehicle? Like,
Yeah.
right, having gas is probably always going to be around, at least.
Well, I mean, I guess if
maybe
if
not,
the
I don't know.
I mean if
but
the
in our lifetime it should be.
well, it should be, but if the grid is down, you can't get fuel either.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You know.
It's not like we stockpile in our garage.
Right. When I grew up and having the ranch, we had 2
Diesel.
tanks. We had a diesel tank and a
And
gas
guessing,
tank.
oh, okay.
And I mean, big, huge drums.
Right,
Huge. I mean, they're thousands of gallons.
Yeah, I guess that was
Yeah.
my only thing, was like having one of each vehicle was kind of just that like doomsday kind of
Right.
in my head.
Right.
Right.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like with California, we have, in the last year or two, they've talked about the brownouts,
Yeah.
right? And, as silly as it is, Nico and I have CPAPs.
Right.
And so, like, if there is a brownout, we can't run it.
Right.
So, one of the cool things about having that truck is I can repower.
The
I
house,
don't have it set up for it yet. We'd have
No.
to buy the additional pieces.
But we could.
But we could, and I
Yeah.
could backfeed the house
Right.
with 30 amps.
Right.
And you know, I calculated out being the math guy, and we could have, you know, both freezers and refrigerator on, and just that would run for 80 days.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
That's
and then
insane.
and then obviously then we'd be able to have, you know, the CPAPs on.
Right.
You know, I could run a drop
Right.
cord if I had to.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, there's just some cool stuff. You know, I find more and more that the electricity in the trunk, you know, in the bed of the truck, I use more and more. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing that Tesla doesn't have that.
it is
like,
disappointing. I know
you
your
have this
dad was
insanely
like,
cool vehicle.
he was like, why don't we? You know, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, you know, I don't
It's
have an
such a
answer
big
for
question.
you.
Like,
Yeah,
even your diesel truck had that little plug in it.
yeah, in
you
the
know?
front. Yeah, yeah.
So
It didn't have the.
Not that you could run anything while the truck
Right.
wasn't
I mean,
on,
but
it was kind of like a
it didn't have
generator.
like an inverter, so it was a
Yeah.
110, and you could run. I remember you ran a couple things there. I think you ran a breast pump in there.
I did, yeah. When
And,
we in the
yeah,
NICU.
in the NICU, yeah.
When we come
And,
home. Yep.
But it couldn't run like a hair dryer or anything like that.
No, could it run a CPAP though?
Yeah, it should.
but
It should. 'Cause
that's
it
what I'm
doesn't pull very
saying. Like
much,
that
but
that's a what?
that's 2016.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 11-year-old truck.
Yeah.
And it had it, but yet Tesla, an electric vehicle with maybe because of the battery life on the Teslas.
It should though, because the Tesla still. I mean, I think the Tesla still has like a 95 kilowatt hour, you know, battery. Where this truck obviously has more than double that,
Right.
or something like that.
Right.
Maybe the Tesla has like 120. I don't know. It depends on which model, but
Yeah.
I just know with that battery, like I said, something I would like if I was looking for a new profession. I told you know, when I had the surgery, we had Jonelle come out and wash the truck and the car, right, and detail everything, because I just could not reach or do anything, so I couldn't wash the truck. And him and I were talking about the truck because he was detailing it for me.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I do someone else's Silverado EV.
Oh, that's
and so
cool.
he was asking me some questions about it, and he's like, you know, he had to have his generator running,
Right.
right,
Yeah,
to run everything, to vacuum and to power wash and
Right.
everything. And I go, yeah, you would be able to, if you had this truck, you would
You
literally
just
plug in
in.
and you'd have no noise.
Right. Which is a huge thing in
You
a
know.
lot of neighborhoods.
Right,
Not ours,
right.
but
Not ours, but yeah, absolutely.
you know, like in the HOA
But I was thinking,
neighborhoods.
I was like, so if you had a detailing business, a mobile detailing business, that'd be great. Or like, you know, they have
Right.
those where they clean the driveways or clean the roofs or the houses.
Oh yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Like the sprayers.
Yeah.
You know, anything that needed a generator, you
Right.
would do it quiet now.
Right.
You know, you just need the extensions to be able to run your equipment. But
Right. Which they
obviously
use
you
anyway
can't.
with the
Yeah,
generator.
you have to anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that type of thing, or like if you had like a lawn care or something like that, you could have electric,
All electric. Yeah.
because I don't know if
Which is
anybody,
super cool.
I don't know if people know this or not, but you could have the back running the whole time the
Right.
truck is running.
Right.
So while you're moving from spot to spot to take care of somebody else's house, like your
You can
your
charge your
lawnmower's
stuff.
charging,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
blower's charging, whatever you need, you know. So, and I don't know the ranges of how long those batteries last, but I mean, it doesn't take very long. Like, I mean, we have a sizable yard, and it doesn't take more than 15, 20 minutes to get it all done.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, well, you know, one pass at a time, like one time of mowing and then
One
blowing,
time, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, so I don't know how many
Well, for one person to do our yard, it's about 45 minutes an hour. Like we're
to
talking.
blow, to
Yeah,
edge, do
mow,
everything.
edge, and
yeah,
blow,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I like. There's a lot. I feel like a lot of jobs you could do with that, and then plus if you're towing,
Right, like if you have a little trailer behind. Yeah.
it's
yeah,
easy to
I
tow.
know.
Like you wouldn't even know it's there. You're kind of in trouble. But you know they also have those. I think they're called decked or something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
where it comes
where
out,
it's
yeah.
it's on the bottom of the bed, and then there's drawers.
Drawers and
I mean, you can
stuff,
have all
yeah.
your tools in there. You know,
I
so if
know.
you're in construction, right?
Well, then that's part of what they made these.
So they have the
for,
work
the
truck.
work truck.
Yeah, the work truck, which is, you know, kind of silly in my opinion, because it's still expensive. Usually when you get like a work truck or the tradesman,
Like
you
a
know,
low.
platform,
Yeah, there's
the
nothing
low,
like bells and whistles and stuff.
there's no bells
yeah.
and whistles, but like it also reflects the price.
Right.
But and I know it's just a pure price point. Like you're still looking at a $50,000 to $60,000 vehicle, $70,000
Right.
brand new. Now they're coming down in price. So if you find the same one, they're like anywhere from 50 to 60,000 right now.
Yeah, and the battery range isn't quite
It's
as
the same.
Oh, it's the same.
Same,
Okay.
yeah.
Just
So,
not as
of
many
the
bells and whistles
2024s,
as the
yeah.
RST.
You can still get the extended on the new ones, and you can still get the max range, which I know some people, you know, they're trying to save a little bit of money, and I get it. I totally get it. But like for me, it's like kind of that's one of those things that for me, I'm like a buy once, cry once thing.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather have the range and not need it
Yeah.
than need it and not have it.
Right.
And
Well, especially for what we're doing, we're going to be towing a trailer.
towing the trailer
that
and
takes
even
up
if
a
you
ton
want,
of resistance.
well, even
so
if you're,
it's gonna knock the
depending on
back
where
up.
you live, the cold reduces your
Yeah,
battery,
right,
and extreme heat is not as good for it.
Right.
So even in those conditions, I would still want to have the max range. And then if you do ever decide to tow even a small trailer, like if you know what, I want to start camping and I'm going to pull like an 18 to 20 foot trailer, it's still going to destroy your mileage
Right.
or your range.
And then you have to figure out how to get in and charge with a trailer, and
Right.
that is.
And I just feel like the more you have, and even if you're not towing, just being able to have that 490 mile range with the new ones right now. The new ones are 490 something. Even having that, I mean, that means you can get from most places you're going to travel to
Right.
without charging, or you might just have to charge one time there
Right.
and then one time on the way back. And if you're not towing, you have nothing to worry about.
I was shocked at how, just kind of a tangent, but when we went to Costco, we set it up and it was like alert you when your car has hit the charge, because some places they'll charge you like what do they call it, docking fee or whatever,
Yeah,
because
it's
you're
like
taking up a charger.
Yeah, because they want you to get the heck out.
Right, so somebody else can use the charger, but
Yeah.
at this particular place they don't charge.
Yeah.
So we could finish our shopping or whatnot, but it was like, I think we were only in the store for 10 minutes before it was like, hey, you're good.
I want to so I've talked
But we
about
also
that
only charged
trip.
up to 80%.
We did 80. We went from 22% to 80%, and I've talked about that in another video. It cost us like $83.
Right.
Right. And
Which isn't like double what we normally pay, right?
Just about. It was.
Yeah.
So we normally pay 38 cents a kilowatt hour, and this place was 61 cents. Which some of the comments we got from the last, not the barbecue one, but the one before, they were like, "Holy moly! Like I paid 17 cents or 10 cents, during off-peak hours."
Oh, unlike at home.
Unlike at home where I pay 38. I was like, oh man, that'd be great.
But we also don't have to worry about peak, so like we got everything running all the time.
I know, but I mean, you figure most of the time you're charging at night. Like we charged last night overnight. We went from 25% to 80.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I feel like.
Although we plugged it in at like what, 4? When did we get home?
Something
4?
like that, like 4.
Yeah, so we just plugged it in and just like left it in for so we don't have to come out at 9 o'clock at night to plug it in,
Yeah, but you could, you
if
could.
It was 17 cents,
well,
I might.
That's the thing though. It's like, the convenience factor.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people complain like, well, I got to go to this, supercharger and gotta wait, and then it takes time because it took 36 minutes for us to charge at Costco.
Oh, it felt like 15.
It was 36.
But
by the time I started it and the time we got the kids out, right? 10 minutes had already gone by. So when I first said that in the video, I said 26 minutes because in my head I saw it say 26 minutes.
Yeah.
But that was because we had already started.
Oh,
I started it right away when I got out.
Yeah, because you got out and then we had to take all the kids out of the seats.
And then we took the kids out of the seats, which tells you it takes about 10 minutes to get everybody
Oh.
out. And then we got to Costco, and then when I was checking out, it alerted me and said it was done. And I was like, oh, I got a 10-minute countdown.
Right.
Because it gave you a 10-minute grace period, even though it didn't charge you.
Right, and that's why you headed out, and I took the kids to the bathroom.
And that's what happened, yeah. And so, but I mean, that's just,
the fact that 30 minutes at Costco, like, I could spend easily an hour in Costco.
I felt like I was rushing to Costco because I knew it was happening.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not convenient. I mean, it's not convenient. Like, if
that
you can plan
case,
that, if
we're also in not a large area. Like, we're not
in
LA
a rural area
or anything like that.
Yeah.
So how many, I mean, a lot of those spots were full. There's a lot of Tesla people there. There was that Hummer that was there. That was the EV Hummer. They were already inside Costco.
I want to say I saw a Honda too.
There was a Honda, electric Honda.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's being used, but it was much more expensive than being at home.
Yes.
So I would see, like, it was still cheaper than fuel, than gas or diesel.
Right.
But it was more expensive.
But if you don't want to take the time, or if you don't live in your own home, like if you rent or you're in an apartment,
there was someone that commented that said he had one for 5 years and he lives in an apartment, and he has he has no problem finding.
Yeah.
A lot of places still have free level 2 charging,
right?
Like the one at Lowe's that we saw at Lowe's.
Yeah.
They're free level 2, and if you can park at them, it's great.
Like like park and walk to work
or
whatever.
Go to work, and then you're there for 8 or 12 hours, or
right?
Whatever your shift is, and then you come back,
right?
And then you're charged enough, you know, depending on
Yeah.
how much. The one at Lowe's did not charge very fast. It was only
It was
like,
also free.
right, but I feel like that's how a lot of them are, like the old
old
free
ones?
ones. Yeah, like it was like 10 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Is what you got, and I was like, "Eeh."
Right.
But if you work an
But
8-hour shift, that's free 80
Yeah.
miles, you know, which, you know, for me, I get 17 or so, I think,
Right.
here at home, 17 miles per hour. But then I'm also paying 38 cents,
Right,
you know.
right.
But, you know, it just depends on where you live, too. But, yeah, I think that was all my questions for you.
Yeah,
So,
okay, good. Well, this is fun. We should do it again.
we should do it again, yeah. Should have another cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Do it again. Okay. So. I'm going to have to turn the shit out of that.
Yeah, oh, yeah.